Aloha everyone, this is my papa, Greg Cravalho, and today we're going to be answering some questions.
Hi everybody. My full name is Gregory Clyde Souza Cravalho. Just for a short bit, maybe like 4th, 5th, 6th grade, I was really fast, and one of my friends called me Cabine, which is the rifle back then. But that was just short-lived. I really have never had nicknames. My grandmother couldn't call my name. She couldn't pronounce my name Gregory, so she called me Gregory.
Gregory?
Gregory. That's my grandmother on my dad's side. My vovó. I was born in Kūpuna Hospital. Grew up in a sugar plantation, Spanish Bee is where we lived, the camp.
Spanish Bee?
Spanish Bee.
So that they were like sections?
Yeah, they had all different names for the different camps. There were camps and villages. We were Spanish Bee. I'm not sure. I think it was a camp.
Portugal Bee?
No,
So why Spanish?
because they had all different names. They had some Chinese names to some places. They had Magero, some named after some of the bosses or the leaders of the sugar plantation. They had camps, Camp 4, Camp 5, Camp 6. So a lot of them was camp named by the numbers and how it was developed. My dad is Frank Souza Cravalho Sr. My mom is Angeline Cravalho. She had no middle name, so she just took D for Decambra, which was her maiden name.
And then tell me a little bit about your dad and who he was to you. And
My dad was the most brilliant man that I've ever known. He was super smart, very witty, very funny, just a brilliant person. He was way beyond his years. He used to talk about things that he saw coming long before it came, and kind of he passed it on to me. I kind of have the same gifting, where I see something and I can already say in 20 years or so, this is where society is going to be. This is how they're going to respond to things. My dad talked about filtration water as a business back in 1960 here in Hawaii, in the islands. So just to kind of get an idea of some of his insight. Also, he also was thinking of collecting a neighbor's trash, and because he had a truck, and taking it to the dump when he go, because they didn't charge to dump before you take. Well, not like now, but anyway. And so he figured while he go, he also charged them just a little bit, enough to cover his gas and maybe make a little bit of money. But you know, it was well before the county decided to do that. Just a lot of things. But anyway, yeah, very brilliant.
yeah.
So my mom is the closest thing to Jesus that ever walked this earth. And I think who I've become or what I've chosen is because of her. My dad had a great influence on the thinking and mind side, but the heart and relationships really came from my mom.
Yeah.
And to this day, there's just so many lives and people. Now we all like old fuddy-duddies, and you know, they always go back to the positive influence that my mom had on them, and how their life was always encouraged and blessed by her kindness and the wisdom that she had. Yeah, both her and my grandmother on her side, my mom's mom, they had wisdom beyond, and that is just so neat, you know.
Yeah.
And yet, if you look at education-wise, my mom only went to 8th grade, my grandmother only went to 3rd grade, but they had more wisdom than college professors, you know, really,
Yeah.
and have helped so many people, you know, and so I need to tie it in because, you know, didn't have a question concern there, but really you can link that to the question early on, you know, what my life was and what I've become or what I've chosen, you know, and
Yeah.
that's a lot to do with my mom.
Yeah. Yeah. She's definitely been, I feel like, a big influence for even our family because, like, you still talk about her, my dad still talks about her.
Aunties,
like,
uncles,
yeah, everyone.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my grandparents on my mother's side was my grandpa, um, Manuel de Cambra was his name.
Like metal?
Manuel,
Oh, man.
Manuel, Manuel, Manuel. And I've never met him. He died before I was born. I've never met both sides actually. Grandfathers died before I was born. Anyway, his mother was Marie Jose Betancourt. Her Betancourt lineage is linked to the discovery of the Canary Islands off the northwest coast of Africa. And so she came from a big family of 11, my great grandmother on that side. So Betancourt married to Campbell. And then my grandmother on my mom's side, her maiden name was Doc Cambra, and she married D. Cambra. But the name that got was actually her father was an illegitimate orphan, supposedly from some well-to-do people who, because was illegitimate and one side of the parents wasn't of royalty, what they did was they put him in orphan and they would send money every so often. And so he was well educated and into all different things. And in fact, he had his own fishing fleet once he was old enough. He was a commercial fisherman back in Portugal before moving here. Yeah. Da Cambra. Ricardo was his name. So that's on my mom's side. So my grandfather, my dad's side, his name was Jules Souza Cravalho. And Portuguese custom, the middle name carry on to keep the genealogy from the woman's side of the family. And so anyway, what you call so his middle name was Souza Cravalho. The actual spelling is supposed to be C-A-R, but they recorded it as C-R-A. But when I looked at my genealogy, it should be C-A-R.
So
anyway.
We should actually be Carvalho.
Yes, Carvalho, C-A-R.
Chaz's mom's.
Carvalho.
So, are we related?
Probably not.
Okay.
It would be far away anyway.
Okay.
Para interview you guys. Anyway, and so he also is a very brilliant man. He truly was a leader. He was like a supervisor. He was high ranking in the Maui Pine, and then he left Maui Pine because E.E. Black, which was at that time the largest big construction company here in the islands, and he was the head of the road paved to Haleakala. It was dirt road, and he was the head of that whole project in paving Haleakala.
Wow.
Yeah, and he also, when he was with Maui Pine, Land and Pine, as a supervisor, he was like responsible for the camp. So he had a big plantation home, and then all the people in the camp, basically, he was kind of like a policeman boss, is how it was back then. Just kept order, but I got a report from a lot of the old timers that he was a very kind, a very honest and upright man, very fair. People had high regards for him. So he really established in our family a high level, if you want to say, as far as integrity. And my dad followed suit, and I hope that I can do the same, or I have done the same.
Definitely have.
Anyway, so that's my grandfather. You need to know my grandmother on my dad's side.
Oh yes.
Okay, her name is Joaquina, and her maiden name was Mendes, Mendes, not Z, an S. Portuguese is S. And her father, his name was also Emmanuel, and he came here very wealthy. He came here invited and brought by the kingdom of Hawaii at that time, and he was a well-known winemaker in Portugal, and so they brought him over. So he was the winemaker for the kingdom.
Wow.
And so that was his credentials or why he came. He didn't come as a plantation hired contract worker. He came here strictly with the kingdom, nothing to do with the plantation.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of money even in coming here. And anyway, eventually he bought, not bought, but he had his store, Mendes Mercantile, up in Kapakalua. And he had it all the way till 1924. Then he sold it or whatever agreement with his clerk, Toshio Hanzawa, which the Hanzawa store right now was my great-grandfather's worker, actually. But he gave him the opportunity. They were very good friends, very close. He also was very brilliant, and he also grew on the family land. He had a lot of vineyards. Best winemaking grapes that he had, known throughout, again, the whole state. And I had a stock from that thing, and my uncle now have it in Kūpuna.
Wow.
The original grape stock that came from Portugal when he came here. He came with a whole bunch of it. But anyway, so that's my my dad's side, both grandfather and grandmother. My great grandparents know because just one. I'm sorry, just one. On my mother's side, my grandma's mother, so it would be Doc Canberra. I remember her as one of the old, we call babushkas, old grandmothers with a scarf around.
Yeah.
And would sit on a little open deck that we had there in my grandmother's house, and I always thought she was a little bit kind of gruff or grumpy, but she lived to almost about 90, I think.
Wow.
But that's the only great grandparents that I remember. The rest died before I was born. Yeah. So my oldest brother is Frank Souza Cravalho Jr. His nickname was Butch. He just passed away this past January, just before he turned 80. And then I have my second brother below him, 5 years younger, my brother Alan. He now lives in Oklahoma. And that's it. When they always question my dad, he said, yeah, the next dozen will be girls.
Yeah.
But we had my 3 sons.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I know you grew up in the camps at Punene, but tell me more about that.
Growing up in Punene, Spanish B, that area of the camps, I wouldn't trade it for anything. We didn't have money. We didn't have, if you want to look, much material possessions, but the life we had was really good. The relationships, the neighbors, everybody taking care of everybody. The values that my parents passed on, being in a camp, everybody respected everybody and always was considerate. And then just the camp life was like Huckleberry Finn. We did the craziest things. We made everything that we played with. We couldn't afford, so we developed skillful things with our hands and our minds, because we made everything, including the bikes that we rode. We took parts from all different bikes and we built our own. So it's kind of exciting. And we just, the whole cane field was our playground.
Yeah.
We used to play hide and go seek and by the hours, and end up several camps away.
Yeah.
But Yeah, and there's a unique bonding between the people that we grew up together. I think closer than anything that I've seen.
Yeah.
To this day, when we run across each other, even if we won't see for years, there's like a special bonding. There's like a heart to heart,
Yeah.
and anyway, so that's kind of what the camp life brought out.
Yeah.
And we had theaters, we had the gymnasium, we had a bakery, we had small little camp stores like out of somebody's garage. And
Yeah.
well, as I got older, I came to the place in my life that I realized that, what was life about, and in doing that, I came to a close call in losing my life. I got electrocuted, 7,200 volts. The Lord spared me, and from there, it kind of opened me up to really the things that are eternal. And when I look back at the camp life, there were so many things of value that was really, it's what the kingdom of God is all about. Just caring, loving your neighbors, taking care of one another, not being selfish or greedy, and always sharing. What was mine was my friends, and that was the relationship. So it was all about healthy relationships. And so I see now that kind of was like the building ground for me now that I've chosen to follow Christ. And so, the Lord knows what He's doing.
Yeah, those are like your stepping stones.
That was kind of the foundation being made. So the school we went to was Kūpuna Elementary. Just your basic public school back then. We had the best cafeteria food ever. I went to Likai. Bowen High was the worst, by the way. And but the teachers were strict, but it was good because it kept order.
Yeah.
And our classes was learning, playing time was playing time, and I think that's kind of what we've got in a way is our society, And so anyway, was a simple life, but a very good and healthy life.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat because we all didn't have, but yeah, we all had.
Yeah.
If you want to put it,
You had each other, so it's
Yeah.
like that was your thing.
Yeah, it was like, man, it's like, yeah. And friendship, good healthy friendships is really what life is about. And so that was a really good place to learn it, And like anything else, you always had a few that had a different heart, but that's life,
Yeah.
But it also have you to learn, to choose and discern and all of that. So it's all good.
Like I know you my electric, but anything like before that, and also during my
So
electric.
I worked hard from young, even not being paid, just with my dad, because we had 15 acres. We had 15 head of cattle, and so there was always maintenance, like building fences, repairing fences, just doing things on a property, cutting trees. So every weekend we worked, and so that just became a way of life. We did play also, but work was work, play was play. As I look at, I'm trying to think which way to go with this. Man. Yeah. So to the question, should I repeat it one more time? I think I kind of drifted from the point I wanted to make.
Just like your jobs and career, you worked when you were younger, became a lifestyle.
Yeah, so that kind of set a foundation of who I was as a worker. And so then from there, as I grew up, while I was in high school, I worked part-time at a gas station because I owned a motorcycle. I had to pay for it and upkeep and help my parents financially. So I worked, but I still also played ball, which was my favorite. So I had a good balance. And then when I went to college, I was a night manager at a gas station. And so started learning some leadership skills. Then from there, I went to work for Hawaiian Electric That's where I started my career as a high voltage lineman, and then transfer eventually back to Maui. Being a Maui, I hated living on Oahu. I don't like that kind of life.
Yeah.
I'm a country boy, but anyway, came back here, worked 24 years, and couldn't be a part of a lot of the evil and bad things that were going on. Left there, and eventually, when I got my own license, my own company, which my two sons got to work with me, and my daughters at times, and that kind of just directed me in the area that I also was doing commercial and residential. So I've done everything electrically, from the power plant to everything that is out there.
And you're still helping all of us today with our electric and houses and
Try
that.
to.
Yeah.
Try to. Yeah, I just love helping people, whatever it is, electrical or whatever. My mom was the great example. My spouse, her name is Tony. Her maiden name was Divera. She was born and raised on Oahu. We met here in Maui. I was going to the college, as I was saying. I was a night manager, work at a gas station, and she came to fill gas in her mom's car. Happened to be the station that I worked, and my friend was interested in her friend and wanted a double date anyway. Long story short, both her and I didn't really want to go out. Well, our friends wanted, and we kind of went out because of them. And then they fought, and they've never been friends since. But she and I slowly developed a relationship. Yeah, and then her mom didn't want her to be with me because I wasn't wealthy. So sent her to the mainland, and so we corresponded for a year. First email system without a computer. We wrote every day to each other.
You wrote letters.
We wrote letters every day, so it was like emailing.
Do you still have any of those letters?
My mama might have. What I do have and I kept is the original envelope with a 7 cent. It was imprinted on the envelope. You bought the envelope and had the stamp on it already. It was only 7 cents for airmail. So just to you see how far back to what airmail is now. So anyway, yeah, I still have one of those. Just a reminder on where we came from.
Yeah.
So our oldest name is Joshua. He's the oldest, Joshua Kiko. He's 49. And our second daughter is Nicole Nohealani. And she's 45. Then your dad, Satosaya Kikokala. And he's going to be 43 shortly. And then we have Taraya E Ole Ole Ho'omaikai, beautiful name. And she's 40, almost 41. But anyway, so we have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. And we lost our second one between our oldest and our second. So if that child lived, would be 47 years old, right in between.
And that's why you guys named
your dad.
My dad.
Yeah, we named your dad Seth, which was a replacement seed of Abel.
In the Bible, yeah.
In the Bible, and that's part of why we named him. We back then they didn't really let us know whether it was boy or girl or whatever. But it was just laid on our hearts. We both came to the Lord, and it was laid on our hearts, and that's why it was a name given before he was born. We didn't even know if he was going to be a boy or girl, but the name was given to us, and we just trusted, and ended up that's who he is.
Yep.
For fun, I think just hanging with my family. I just love, I don't know, being with people. When I was younger especially, I love doing things I've never done before. I always like challenges. I mean, to this day, I still kind of love challenges. That's kind of what motivates my life. And so I'm always game and willing to learn and do. Also, I got to fly a helicopter some years back, which was my joy or my desire, if you want to call a bucket list, from when I was a young boy. And I finally got to do it. Flew a Huey up in Nevada, and that was the ultimate for me.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Not fly in a helicopter, I actually got to fly the helicopter. Yeah, I flew many times doing work for the utility company in a helicopter, but I got to actually fly it. That was like the ultimate.
I know you do this a lot, and we've heard people say they see you mowing the side of Haleakala Highway, but
Not Haleakala.
or somewhere, a highway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you enjoy mowing, or you just do it to help people?
I do it to help people. I do it to help people, but for me it's a really good time with the Lord, because at that point it don't take too much mind to operate a mower, especially with the amount of hours I've put on over the years. In fact, they could bury me with a mower, that would be kind of comfortable. But anyway, like right now where we live, I do all the outside between the property and the road, the little strip by the sidewalks, cut and take care, like all the way up, both sides of the street, down around the corners. And in fact, just started a couple of weeks ago, had this lot that was for sale but was overgrown, so I went there and cut a good portion of the lot, so made it more presentable, so I'm hoping the owners can sell.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, they don't even know that I did it, who I am, but I love it. That's what I love,
And you don't do it
not for
people's-
recognition, no.
Yeah.
No. Important things. Positive or negative?
Any? Just like important things, or like things that you would want to pass down, or like that you experience.
Yeah, what I, communication is the number one thing in a relationship, marriage, beginning with a marriage. I feel that society have labeled or bring forth what is acceptable or not, that is so out of whack, that is hindering healthy relationships. And I hope that people can see through the vanity or the foolishness of the mindset. It's like this critical race theory, which is absurd. It's a blasphemy of God and what God had designed our relationships to be. He never designed us. We're not a race. There's one race. It's the human race. So that's the part to me. It's kind of like I'm hoping people can see through it. It's so funny because that mindset, when I look at the crowd of people there, it's nothing positive come out of it. Not to the communities or in the relationship. It's very empty, very shallow. To me, a true relationship is when you go beyond the call, when you forget about yourself and you see a need and you reach out to the need. I feel if society can get back to that as a basis, we're going to have a healthy society. So that's kind of what, for me. Okay.
I remember you telling me about the cockroach races, and
It's
I
cool.
feel like it's important to talk about.
Oh, yeah, we did just the simplest thing that we had so much fun. So when I was in high school, we had, my friends, we were characters. We never made trouble. We always had respect for others, but we did things that so many other kids, even back then, didn't do. But we'd come up with these crazy things to do during recess break or like lunch break. And our lunch, depending on what lunch you had, sometimes it would be almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So to get in trouble, we'd create and do things. Well, anyway, so this side we're gonna do a cockroach race. So in the sidewalks entry to the school, it's like I would be like the double. So there's like 4 squares that you can choose, and we would have challenge roaches, and people would just on a side bets like 5-10 cents, whatever.
Yeah.
Bet on, okay, Greg's roach gonna win or whatever. Well, anyway, so what you do is you drop the roach, both of them. Okay, ready, set, go. You drop the roach, and whichever roach go out of any of the square
Yeah.
first is the winner.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and anyway,
Yeah.
so one of my friends, his house, I don't know if the mom didn't keep it clean or what, but they had the hugest roaches. This was like 2.5 inches big.
Yeah.
I mean, huge.
Yeah.
And he brought it in a little matchbox. I don't know if this generation know what a matchbox is. It's where you slide open, and there's the wooden stick matchboxes that you, okay. Anyway, he emptied it out and he put the roach in there, so that the roach is confined. I mean, he had to stuff it in there. That's how big the roach was.
Yeah.
And so now he gonna race. As soon as he dropped it, the roach so happened to be out of that box. The roach is gone. Plus, long the legs. Everybody else's roach was 1/3 the size, so he would win. Nobody could win him.
Yeah.
So I had one of my friends, and he was Koloe, this guy. And so what he did was he got one of those grass roaches, the slowest roach around, and now he's gonna bet. And the minute they dropped it, he stomped on my friend with a big roach and killed him.
Yep.
Oh man, now he's chasing the other friend down the hallway, and oh my gosh, we got the counselors and the vice principal involved with them. But we used to do the craziest.
Yeah.
That's just one of them. I think I told you that we stacked 5 people on each other's shoulder.
No, not that one.
If you go to Bowen High School, there's you're gonna see there's a statue to the right entry.
Yeah.
And they don't even know. I went to the office, how come they did that? They said, oh, I don't know. I said, we were the ones who did that. I was the middle guy. I was the number 3 guy in the stack.
On the shoulder?
On the shoulder.
Oh,
And the
what?
bottom guy was hailed by 2 big guys, his arms, because the weight. And then the top guy was probably only about 85 pounds. He was from Thailand originally.
Wait, there's a statue with 5
Yes.
guys on each other's...
5 total.
And it's at Baldwin?
Yeah.
And that was you guys?
Well, that's what we did.
Oh, yeah.
But I asked them, the office don't know who, where, why. And I don't know who came up with that.
Yeah.
Have to be somebody who saw what we did.
Mm.
It took us probably about 20 tries before we were actually able to do it. But we finally did it, and that was it. So we used to do all these crazy things.
Yeah.
So you figure now, so the top guy, we had 2 guys grabbing him by his foot and his arm, and they would throw him, so he would end up, his first climb was on my shoulder. That's how high they threw him. On my shoulder, but he was climbing up. Now we got to go on the guy above me and then go on top of him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, nobody would ever.
Did you guys fall?
Oh, man, oh my gosh. So the guy who got the most hurt in the whole thing was the guy right below me, because he was the second guy. And so when the whole stack pivoted, he went head first.
Yeah.
And he got up with scraped grass all over his face, dirt and grass in his mouth, and skinned arms. And anyway, but you know what? We persevered and we actually accomplished it.
Yeah.
And so that was
all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we did the craziest. Yeah. We had fun. High school wasn't boring.
Yeah.
I guess a man who walked with God. That would be my thing, yeah. Most important, yeah. And that's for me to, that's what I would like to be remembered. One who loves God, I guess.
Which because of all the other good things, right?
Yeah, it produces what society needs. That's what is missing right now. And shame on society to try to take God out of the whole equation. God is life. Without Him, there's no life. And then we wonder why we got all these social problems, you know. But yeah, I think that would be simplified. On a more personal level, that, you know, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I guess that would be my scripture tie into that. Yeah.
Okay, Mama brought out pictures. To close, Papa also wanted to add that he has 22 immediate grandchildren and he helped raise each and every one of us. And he wanted to mention that he loves us very much and we love him as well.